you get in position, then I'll step over here.
Okay. Can you tell us your full name and when and where you were born?
James Andrew Davis. I was born in Marshall, I believe. Yeah.
Yeah. How long have you lived here?
I've lived here about 47 years because I lived in Columbia for about 10 years.
What brought you to the area if you aren't from here? Why you were born here? What was your childhood like growing up here? What are some of your favorite memories from your early years?
Well, I was raised on a farm, so most of my time was spent working on the farm when I was a kid, working in the gardens, working with animals, that sort of thing.
Describe your family and what life was like growing up in Saline County.
As I said, I lived on a farm, so we've worked on farm-related stuff most of the time, and went to school, and I don't know what kind of details you want.
What did kids do for fun?
There wasn't a huge amount of stuff to do in Marshall. There was a skating rink that was in business at that time. So sometimes people went roller skating. It was real popular to cruise around the square and drive up and down Odell Street and cruise
I wonder
around
what
the
happened
square.
to the skating rink.
The building's still there, it's just closed.
Just closed forever. What jobs did you have at the time?
When I was in high school, I just worked to help my dad on the farm.
Okay, what schools did you attend? And what was school like when you were younger?
I went to Northwest.
How did you get to school?
I rode the school bus.
Rode the school bus. What classes did they offer you? And did you take? What was your favorite subject?
I took lots of art classes. I took college prep classes. So I took physics and chemistry and geometry and the math classes, and I took 2 years of electronics technology over in the Career Center, learning how to do electronics repair.
What teachers did you remember?
I remember lots of teachers. Some of their names are not necessarily coming to me at the moment, but the Paul Geringer was a teacher then. There was
You told me there was a guy named Mr. Officer.
Yeah, Mr. Officer was the electronics instructor. He was a retired Navy guy. There was Mrs. Kugel was one of the English teachers. There was Mr. Stith was the guy that taught chemistry and physics and geometry, and Mr. Nelson was one of the history teachers. He was one of my favorite history teachers. He taught American history and European history, and I think the classes are pretty similar to what they're offering now. Just
I wonder what Mr. Fox did at the time.
that was he's only about 4 or 5 years older than me, so he was in college probably at that time when I was in high school.
Now I'm going to talk about your adulthood. Tell me about your career after high school. Did you go to college, trade school, workforce, or military?
I went to college and I got a bachelor's degree in studio art, and then I got a master's degree in studio art in sculpture, and I taught at the University of Missouri for a year, teaching the sculpture classes there, and I taught at Missouri Valley as an adjunct faculty there for 2 or 3 years, I can't remember now, and then I helped, I worked on the family. When we moved back here to Marshall, I helped my dad with the family farm for about 6 years, and then got another job. I worked as a machinist for about 10 and a half years, and I started teaching.
Tell me about your family after high school. What was it like to date in this area? What are things you would do?
To date in this area, pretty much there wasn't much to do other than go to the movies, go to parties, go to each other's houses and watch TV. There wasn't a whole lot going on.
What was your family like after high school?
After high school, my family was pretty much the same way as it was during high school. I mean, they were still live and work on the farm, so nothing really changed.
Did you get married? If so, did you have children?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I got married in 1992, and we had two boys that went to school here, and they both went to college, and one's an electrical engineer in St. Louis, and the other one is looking for a job right now. He's gone back to school and looking for a job. He got one bachelor's degree, and he's working on an associate's degree in something else right now, trying to decide what he wants to do.
Are there any businesses, buildings, or landmarks that used to be here but aren't there anymore in Marshall?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, there used to be a drive-in theater out on Eastwood. There used to be, there's several businesses that are gone. There used to be a drive-in that was on Odell. Trying to remember exactly where it was. And I can't think of what the name of it was now. There used to be not a drive-in theater, but like a drive-in restaurant, kind of like a Sonic, but I think it was called Dog and Suds. And there was lots more grocery stores in town than there is now. There used to be a grocery store right there across the street from Dairy Queen, that big open parking lot that's there north of Dairy Queen. Used to be a large grocery store there, and the one end of it was a grocery store, the other end of it was like kind of a variety store, kind of like a Walmart. It had everything from I don't know if they had groceries there, but it was kind of like a variety store that had basically everything but groceries, I think. But there was another store over where the Dodge dealership is now. There used to be a large store over there called Gibson's that was another variety store or department store. Trying to think what else there's been TG&Y was another store that was kind of like a Walmart that we used to have here. There was a Safeway grocery store on that in that strip mall there across from the current where Sonic is currently. There's there's used to be a lot of grocery stores in town.
Yeah.
Not anymore.
So what are some distinct memories you have of pop culture, based in music, TV, sports, etc.?
I don't have anything that really sticks out that much in terms of pop culture. We were we were stuck here in Marshall, and we didn't spend a lot of money to go places and do stuff like that. So I don't really necessarily have any big memories related to pop culture stuff.
So what's the most proud moment in your life?
So far, I guess when my son got his engineering degree at University of Science and Technology in Rolla, and went to St. Louis and got a pretty good job.
That's nice. Now I'm going to talk about the community history and changes. How has the community changed over the years?
Hasn't really changed that much, other than Walmart came in and a lot of small businesses are no longer in business because they can't really compete. I mean, essentially, there's not that much different about the community other than there's not much in the way of grocery stores and other stores other than Walmart anymore. It's pretty similar town other than that.
What are the biggest events that happened in this town during your lifetime?
Biggest event that happened in this town. I'm not aware of anything really big happening in Marshall. I guess when the eclipse came through here a few years ago, that turned into a big deal that we were in the path of totality for the eclipse that year. But yeah, I don't know. There's nothing major that really happens in Marshall that I can think of.
What national or world events stand out to you in your lifetime, and how do they affect the town? Example, the Cold War.
Probably I didn't really notice any big effects from the Cold War that I was aware of. I was younger at that time, but probably the biggest event in my lifetime that I was aware of was 9/11, and I don't know that it necessarily affected Marshall any differently than it affected the rest of the country. I mean, I think it pretty much affected everyone the same.
What about the farm crisis of 1980s or COVID-19?
Yeah, COVID was kind of dumb. I don't know what. I think that was something that I think had kind of a similar effect on the whole country again. There was lots of businesses that weren't able to survive, and hopefully we learned.
What advice would you give to young people growing up in this town today?
I don't know. It's not a bad place to live, but you have to be responsible for your own happiness. You can't look for a vast array of entertainment possibilities in this community and expect for that to keep you excited about life, because you're going to be disappointed living in this little town. You got to figure out your own things to make you happy and provide your own fulfillment. Don't look for it in the community, because there's not that much here.
Is there anything else you want to share about your life or the history of this town?
Not necessarily.
Nothing else. Well, some additional questions. What's your favorite class that you like to teach? Or your favorite subject?
Mm. I enjoy teaching woodworking. I mean, that's kind of what I do the most of. I guess I didn't mention that the sculptures that I did when I was working more regularly as a sculptor. I do have a sculpture that I did with a friend of mine that's on display at the Courthouse Square in Columbia, and also the Jim the Wonder Dog sculpture were both sculptures that I did.
Okay.